know, last year the United States Senate passed a bipartisan immigration reform bill that would have secured our borders, required workplace enforcement, adjusted the future flow of immigrants from new countries to meet our economic needs, create over 200,000 jobs for Americans, and reduce our deficit by close to $300 billion over 10 years. Unfortunately, the Republican-controlled House refused to even allow a simple vote up or down on this bill, and the hopes for passage of this bill continue to dim. It expires at the end of the year. As such, we are renewing our call on President Obama to do what he can to focus our limited enforcement efforts on criminal aliens. When we talk about deferred action and prosecutorial discretion, if there's 11 million people here, there are inadequate resources to deport everybody. So clearly, the President needs to do what he can to focus our limited enforcement resources on criminal aliens. And that's exactly what the DACA program does, keeps our communities safer. And that's exactly what an expanded DACA program will do, which we are calling on him to announce. We are calling on him to be bigger and bolder than before, to cover as many people as possible with his temporary relief and focus of our limited resources on criminal aliens. Now, I am proud to join you here today on calling on President Obama to move forward with announcing the executive actions as big and as bold and as soon as possible to focus our limited enforcement resources on criminal aliens. The President indicated that he anticipated receiving recommendations and acting by the end of summer. Unfortunately, he delayed, apparently in an effort to prevent a negative impact on yesterday's midterm elections. We saw how well that strategy worked. Some of us believe that delaying the announcement of relief for hundreds of thousands of families, relief that has overwhelming popular support and is in line with our values as Americans, may very well have had the opposite effect by dampening voter enthusiasm across the country. Nevertheless, the elections are finally over, the excuses are wearing thin, and now is the time for the President to keep his promise by providing relief to as many immigrant families as possible by focusing our enforcement resources on criminal aliens. We urge him to provide meaningful action to ensure that our limited enforcement resources that we have through our law enforcement agencies are focused on those who pose threats in our community. We urge the President to allow DACA beneficiaries to join the United States military. Many of the 800,000 individuals who've applied for DACA, some of whom desire to serve in the U.S. military at a time when we're meeting our increasing security needs here and abroad. And we urge the President to focus our immigration enforcement resources on those who are criminal and truly dangerous and pose a threat to our national security or to our communities. We need bold action. In a system with limited resources, and of course the Republican Congress continues to refuse to give the President the ability to secure our border, refuse to allow the President to enforce the law. So with the limited resources that the Republican Congress has given the President in this area, every time the government seeks to remove someone like Mr. Garcia Hernandez, someone with no meaningful criminal record, with a family, contributions to our community, taxpayer, the government is misappropriating resources away from pursuing criminal aliens and those who are threats to our community. The American people can no longer afford an immigration system that spends extraordinary sums of money detaining and deporting individuals who are not a threat to our communities. We need the President to take as big and as bold as action as possible to tackle the menace of criminal immigration and criminal aliens as directly as possible. It's time to bring our immigration enforcement regime in line with our values as a country. We know the President can't address this for the long term, but he can provide immediate action to focus our enforcement mechanisms where they will make the biggest impact in keeping our community safe, restoring the rule of law in our nation. While it is the job of Congress to reform our immigration laws, and only Congress can truly pass a meaningful bill with a pathway to citizenship, in the absence of congressional action, we need a bold, immediate, and strong new set of executive actions to keep our communities safe, from the White House to bring families together, grow our economy, and reduce the menace of criminal actions. Thank you.